All eyes turn to Apple today at 1 o'clock. That's actually exactly when we're doing our broadcast, and the Fed tomorrow. Hello, Market Club members everywhere. Adam Hewison here, co-founder of Market Club, with your midday market report for Wednesday, the 12th of September. The big news today is Apple and the possible launch of the new iPhone 5. Is this going to be enough to spark the GDP, as some have suggested? And will it be enough to propel NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P to new highs? That's a good question. The other big news today is that a German court allowed ratification of the bailout fund with conditions. The positive news out of Germany was enough to raise European shares to their highest levels in 14 months. We still believe that Greece is going to exit the euro, and we still believe that Spain and Italy have problems that are yet to be faced. If interest rates are held down, perhaps they can squeeze by, but the austerity measures are going to be hard to live with for some of these countries. The question on everyone's mind today, besides Apple, is the Fed and Ben Bernanke going to begin inflating the economy again with another QE program? This would be the third stimulus and would be named QE3. The market seems to be banking on QE3 and more positive news out of the Fed. The view from this observer's desk is the Fed is beginning to run out of bullets. As you mentioned yesterday, the charts are telling us that something big and positive is going to happen. It's only a question of when. That's what is going to propel the markets to move to new highs. So let's go to the charts and our trade triangles and see what's happening today. Well, here we are on my home page. I'm going to be going right to the portfolio manager. And the one startling thing, not the startling thing, the one thing I want to share with you today on this is the fact that look at this 90, 100, 90, 60. That's the only one, the crude oil is the only one that's in a trading range, 90, 90, 90, 75, 100, 100. So everything is pretty much in an upswing or an inflationary spiral, let's say. The only thing that's not getting there right now is the crude oil. Now, the crude oil traded up to our 98 level, which is the resistance level. If you may remember, we've talked about that as a strong resistance level. It's currently trading at 96.88. So it's pulled back, but we'll be looking at that in more detail in just a second. So let's start off with the S&P 500. Let me just clear the screen. And we'll go to the S&P 500. Really easy to do with Market Club. So here's the chart coming up. You can see the action today. The market is a little bit, really just a little bit higher for the week, it seems, but not really that much. I mean, in fact, it is lower for the week because we closed last Friday. We closed at 1437. We're currently trading at 1436. So it's about pretty much flat. I think what the market needs is Ben Bernanke and the Fed to come in and say, yes, we're going to do a QE3, keep interest rates low forever. And that's going to push the markets up as more people go into stocks to get some sort of return on their money, because they sure as heck can't get it from the banks or CDs or anything else. So let's go to our next market. That's going to be the Dow. And you can see the Dow, basically we had the signal yesterday about the Dow going higher from 1330. It's 13,338 last. So just a few points higher, but the market continues to move higher. And it does have a strong energy field. We talked about this large energy field. I certainly would like to see it close over the 13,350 level. That would give it a nice boost to the upside. So let's go to our next market. That's the NASDAQ. And that is, again, moving sort of sideways. It is lower for the week. Last week we closed right here. And that was a doji line. That closed at 3,135. So it's about 25 points lower for the week. Very close to the PSAR. Now the PSAR today comes in at 3,098. So it's very close to that level. That's something to watch, because if we go through there, we'll see some more profit taking coming into the market. But we still think this market has the potential to go higher. Certainly if we clear these levels right here, I think we'll be off and running. So let's go to our next market. This is crude oil. This is the one, remember, we talked about at the top of the show. And that was, you can see the action. Let me close this in real close. You can see the 98 level. We talk about that practically every show. And really this is the line in the sand is 98 on the upside. And it is 94 on the downside. So that's really where we're coming at. So again, once we move out of this level, I think with a general bullish mentality that's going around the markets, whether it's in the metals or whether it's in grains or whether it's in the stock markets, is eventually we'll sort of push through this 98 level. But I would rather buy it when it pushes through and closes over there than try to get it on a pullback. Again, it's all about using the momentum when the market moves through. Now you see also the PSAR. Yesterday we hit the PSAR right here, so that's below the level right here, indicating that the momentum may be on the upside. Longer term, we have our monthly trade triangle, which you can see right here is negative, and also we have the weekly and the daily positive. Now we talk about trading crude oil using the weekly for trend and the daily for timing. So we are long this market from 96.74, the market's 96.70, 84 last, so nothing really to speak of. But again, just remember that level. So let's clear the screen, go to our next market. So lots going on today. Obviously, Apple's got its big announcement today. Whether that's going to be a market mover, we'll have to see, but I'm guessing it probably will be. But generally speaking, the markets are sort of waiting for the news from the Fed. That's going to be the game changer I think everyone's waiting for. So here's the euro. The euro actually jumped up dramatically today based on the news out of Germany, which means they're really going to reinflate. Then the German court gave Angela Merkel some political cover that she can duck behind if everything hits the fan. But the reality is this market has made the turn. We talked about that yesterday. Right here at 127.47, the market's at 128.91. So clearly everything's in a bull trend here, and it looks like we want to continue in that trend, possibly to the 135 level. So let's see how that plays out. Generally speaking, you want to be long the euro right now. So here we are on gold. Gold, a little disappointing today. I think a lot of people are disappointed, but we're not particularly disappointed. But you do have a little bit of a divergence here. Let me explain what that is. We've made new highs. You can see today we made a new high, and yet the divergence is going this way. So we may see more consolidation, but eventually I think we'll see this market move higher. I think that's just in the cards, and we will see this do much, much better in the future. But nonetheless, we have monthly, weekly, and daily all pointing higher, and that's the important thing to do. With a plus 90 score, we're in a strong upward trend, and any pullbacks in this market should be used to be a buyer, and I think that's the important thing to look at. So you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 days before rest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe a couple more days, and I think we'll see this market move higher. We're a little bit lower for the week, but nothing to speak of, given the fact this market is pretty volatile once it gets moving. So let's clear the screen and go to our next market, and that's going to be the copper market. The copper market moved a new high. Now it looks like it's putting in a doji line, which means we've probably reached at least for the moment, a standoff. We've had actually 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row, 5 days in a row now with higher prices. I think it would be reasonable to expect this market to begin to consolidate its recent gains, and maybe we'll see something, just sort of consolidation, and then eventually a move higher. Again, we have a plus 90. It's a bull market, and that's the important thing to remember. I think we'll see this market do much, much better in the future. So let's see how that plays out. But generally speaking, we want to be long this market on any kind of a pullback. Certainly a pullback, I think, to the 360, 355 level would be a great opportunity to get long this market again. So the original buy point on our monthly was 356, and it's looking good. So let's clear that screen off and go to our next market. And the next market we're looking at is silver, spot silver. Now this is the big move. This is the big news today because spot silver really did take a hit. We traded as high as, we traded over the 34 level, briefly 34.06. This is spot market. And then we saw a rapid reversal and profit taking coming into this market. Now remember, this market's come up from really 28 to 34. Huge move in silver, in the futures markets, and in the cash markets. So we saw a PSAR, and let me tell you what that is. So the PSAR, which is these little dots you're seeing here, was hit today. And that PSAR now is up above the market. You can see it just right there. So the market would have to go over 34, close over 34 to ignite that signal to get momentum going back to the upside. I think for the most part, we were looking for a move down to the 32.50 level. We got down to 32.51 today. Did not get filled because obviously we're looking at 32.50. But generally speaking, I think this area here, the 32.50 to 32 area, should provide good support. Now we have gone from an overbought condition to, I'm hoping to get down here again and give us the opportunity to get long some more silver. We may just see some consolidation here and then an eventual move up. But generally speaking, this is a bull market. You've got the weekly and the daily and the monthly, well, excuse me, you got the monthly and the weekly positive right here, and you have the daily negative. Now, if you're an intermediate or short-term trader, you should be out of this market right now. You should have been out around 33. Okay, that was our exit point on our scorecard, and we use our dailies for timing and our weeklies for trend. Now, the trend is clearly up on the weeklies, so we're waiting for our daily trade triangle to once again turn green and give us a buy signal. So let's see how that works out. If you're a long-term trader, you should just be long this market, period. So let's clear the screen and go to our next market. And the next market we're looking at is the CRB index. And as you can see, we trade as new highs today. We trade as high as 315 today, and that's in a bull market. We picked up that bull market right here at 308, and certainly now there's good support at the 305 level. Now this is our indicator for inflation, and as you can see, it's been steadily trending up. And if we scope this out even further, let's go back a year. So it's been steadily trending up, and we're getting to an area at the 320 level. I think it's going to be a little bit of a problem, but eventually I think we'll go over there. But this is a pretty big move when you go from 270 to 314, 315. That's huge, and that has made a difference. I think is what's maybe taking the profit taking today is probably the crude oil market and maybe a little bit the metal market. So let's see how that plays out. But generally speaking, everything is set in this market. We've got a plus 100, and all the monthly, weekly, and daily are all positive. Now with this market, we use the monthly as a long-term indicator. That's what we like to use because it's better. It actually is it's an index of several major raw commodities, and it's always good to use a monthly on that, just like we use a monthly for trend on the indexes, stock indexes. So let's scope this out just a little bit further. You can see the market made its high back here. That was on crude oil, traded $140, but we've come back up, we've come back down, and these are important lows to remember. This is the rhythm of this market. You can see every time we've had a buy, which is right here, and right here we've had a pretty pronounced move. So we've just had this buy right here. This one did not work, but we got out obviously pretty quickly, but it's come back in again, and we're going to go higher. Now what we're looking for right now is a trend line that comes in. I'll just draw that in roughly for you and show you what we're looking at here. So here's the trend line. We're going to go from this high here, really pretty much along these levels, and it is coming in around 320. So let's watch how that plays out. But I'm Adam Hewison for Market Club. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Hope you're having a great trading day. Let's see what the Fed says tomorrow when they announce possibly QE3. And let's see what the new iPhone looks like. Hey, I'm Adam Hewison. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great trading day.